Can we stand for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, sir.
Oh Lord, as we gather this day to do the important business for the people of the village of Owego, grant us wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Amen.
All right. So we got a long agenda tonight. Hopefully it goes easy things. Our first item is public comment. Does anybody have any public comment?
I'm sure I'm not the only one. My name is Doug Weeks. I live in the town, in the village of Owego. I live in a historic house. It has been designated as a historic house. It is outside the historic district. I was signed up to do the elevation and was told that there was no funding available because I was outside the historic district.
Okay.
So I took myself off that list. My flood insurance, like everybody else's, has gone up substantially. 2/3 of my monthly mortgage is now my flood insurance. My understanding is that the board was given information that all you have to do is pass a resolution. I don't know the resolution, I don't know the wording on it. FEMA passed this information on to you. All you have to do is pass this resolution and it will reduce everyone's flood insurance in the village. My question, why has this board not done that? It is a simple matter. You pass the bloody resolution and everyone's safe.
So we're actually working with one of our old mayors, Kevin Millar. He's our floodplain manager. And what you're talking about is, what do they call it?
Mitigation.
If you guys had sat through his presentation, you might have heard.
It was,
Flood mitigation.
yeah, but there is a meeting next week about that, I think. So we are pursuing that.
How long will it be before that takes effect?
I can find out for you. I'm not sure, honestly.
I would like to know.
Okay. We can get you that information. Anybody else? Public comment?
Mike, I can give my report now real quickly, because I can also address what Doug said, because I have a grant thing here. I handed out a report to all of you for Nadine Biggs VOHPC. I'm not going to read the report to you because you have a really full agenda. So just to update you on 174 Front Street, the new construction, that public hearing was canceled by the property owner, and he's in the middle of redesigning the building. So we don't know when we're going to see that project again. That's all I know about that. But there's more details about my conversation with him in your report here, if you want to know that.
Was that redesign instigated by us?
No. No, I do want to make that clear. That came from him.
Okay.
We did not ask him to do anything. It was his idea.
Okay.
Let's see. Mr. Finelli from SHPO, did you get the CLG stuff yet?
We haven't gotten the packet yet. We're watching for it.
Okay, all right. He told me he had sent it out, and so our CLG, Certified Local Government standing, should be put back in action. I think you have to sign 3 things and send it back, and we're back in business again. I'm supposed to bug you about that, so that's my official bugging you about it.
You're right, you're right.
The thing that I wanted to mention, this is new, and this just came to our attention, and actually Kevin Millar brought it to my attention last week, April 9th, 2019. The New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services announced a new FEMA grant DR 4397 to support elevations of buildings and flood zones. And I've attached on my little report here, there's the details about that and the website information for you guys. There are 2 webinars on this grant on May 2nd and May 9th. We have to register for them. If we can't make it on the 2nd and the 9th, they'll be up on their website to view any old time. We're learning about this whole land of grants. The applications are due June 6th. So they just announced it last week, and so I don't think they need the full applications. I looked at all the stuff today. It's really complicated and complex, but it is doable. I know of 2 property owners that would be interested in elevating their houses, so, they're interested in pursuing this. Elevation is obvious, assistance in preserving properties and saving them. When you elevate your house, it does significantly reduce your mortgage insurance that is required by the mortgage companies. That's the flood insurance, that's another way of trying to address that issue with property owners too. Let's see, I think my understanding is that the village is going to actually be the applicant, and the other people, the property owners, will be the sub-applicants. I am not clear, because I only looked at the stuff today. Kevin thought that you might have to do a resolution or write a letter or something to say you want to participate in this, but I didn't see any of that. Jeff, maybe we can look at that together. I didn't see.
They're going to have to, the village board as a whole has to say, yes, we want to do this.
Okay, because I didn't see that explicitly, the explicit instructions in any of the stuff that I looked at today. It must be hidden in there somewhere. But Kevin thought that you're going to have to perhaps do that. I'm not ready to recommend that. I mean, I'm recommending that we pursue it, but I don't have any of that detailed information for you to have a resolution tonight.
No, we can get one though.
So that, and I think the CLG status will also help elevate any applications up a little bit on the pile. I'm also here to advocate again for the hiring of a full-time code enforcement officer. Please put that at your priority. And also to hire a secretary for the OHPC meetings and perhaps for the zoning board and the planning meetings. We talked about that in the past. Anticipating DRI applications coming through, I'd like to have somebody trained properly over the summer. And I don't ever want to see us getting behind in helping people move forward on their projects because we're behind in paperwork. And we only have so many hours to process paperwork, so that would really be extremely helpful to do that. So that's it. Thank you.
All right, public comment, anybody else? So our next item is the DRI, so the final DRI presentation. We asked Leanne and Becca to come just show us what was the final submitted to the state. Well, it's not the actual plan, but it's a kind of overview that the plan was made from.
Thank you for giving an opportunity to talk with you tonight. As Mayor Baradas mentioned, we're just going to give you, in the packet gives you a little more detail on each of the projects that have been submitted to the state. So I'm not going to go over them in detail, I'm just going to touch on those projects that made it to as the final cut.
And can I say one thing? This presentation, for anybody who's looking for it, I just put on the website under the DRI tab before the meeting. So
Great. Thank you.
if you guys all want to look at it, you can find it pretty easy.
So just as a reminder, we had to have the final list of projects into the state by the end of the month of March, which we were able to do. It is with the state right now for review. The state is taking a look at it and requesting additional information on a few of the projects. So a few people that have projects out there are going to be contacted by BFJ still and looking for additional information. So one of the slides in here is your project timeline. What will happen at this point, once the state does their review, it'll be probably July or so before they come out with the final projects that they will select. So there's roughly 13.3 million, and that's what's been proposed, and the state will cut that to 9.7. So we'll know what those projects are in the July timeframe. Did you want to talk maybe about, just briefly about the public projects?
Sure. So one of the things, and this was something that had some pretty good community support too, was it's called Connect and Activate Owego's Waterfront, but a lot of that is about the Owego Riverwalk and doing some different activities that help make it easier to clean, possibly lighting, signage, that kind of thing, to make it a little bit more accessible and usable, and encourage business owners and building owners to kind of do more activities on the back of the Riverwalk. And there, I think we had in here maybe like a kayak launch or something to make it a little more accessible for people that are boating on the Susquehanna. Upgrade Marvin Park for recreational opportunities and reduce flooding is exactly what it sounds like. Marvin Park needs a little bit of love, it seems like. Upgrades to the bathroom and the track, and also to kind of look and see what other improvements can be made so the community can use it even more than it already does. And that's something that we'll probably find out more details about. A lot of these are ideas, and then when we get to the phase where they're implemented, that's when research and that kind of thing will happen with whoever is doing that. So we'll have more details on that. Something that our office will be working on with a few other organizations is a marketing strategy for Owego's creative community and downtown businesses. This has a couple different things to it. One of the major things is wayfinding signs, which would include better signage for parking, also for our business district, and then also kind of branding the downtown as a creative community or an artistic community. We have a lot of galleries and potential for more artists to come in and bring in new business and new customers, so we're hoping that that will help, especially as people drive through and don't necessarily know that there's this whole little downtown area if they're not looking for it. So I think that'll be great. Let's see. The North Avenue Art Park. That is what we have been lovingly referring to as the Pit, which is across from Community Shop between Central Ave and North Ave. The planning committee heard some different ideas, but really because of the flooding that happens there and some other things, can't really build on it. So an art park or something that the community can use would do something with that space instead of having it just sit there. And Leanne, can you remind me, was there parking?
There's parking as part of that project.
Right. So hopefully we'll add some more parking spaces there. Improving downtown streetscapes, that is exactly like it sounds. We'll have probably a firm come in and look and see what we can do to make the downtown more user-friendly and, just kind of update the aesthetic of it with the signage will help, but also maybe trees and benches and that kind of thing has been talked about. Maybe some improvements to the pedestrian crossing walks as well to make them a little bit safer. Improved parking lots, everybody's favorite. I think that they just need to be updated, looking at reorganizing the parking spaces to be more efficient. Creating the Downtown Revitalization Fund. There were a lot of projects that the local planning committee looked at that were great projects but didn't really necessarily fit as standalone projects with the DRI. So this would give those property owners an opportunity to apply to this fund to be able to help fund some of those projects that didn't make the final cut. That will be an application process to the village, correct?
Yes.
And then improve key facades in Owego's downtown. That's not a public project.
That will be, no,
right?
private.
That'll be private. Okay. And upgrading the sewer lines behind Lake Street, there have been some issues with that. Our property owners have, sewer issues that affect their tenants and their business, and that would be the village taking that over and improving that line. So hopefully those problems will cease. Flood mitigation design guidelines, that is just the village adopting guidelines to help people when they're doing construction and that kind of thing, build for less damage from flooding. And that also goes to the insurance question that was asked earlier. If that happens, then I think there will be, I don't know how to say it, like a reduction in insurance, or there's
Potentially.
Potentially.
But it would provide guidance and, place for property owners to look to understand best practices and help with that whole situation.
Repairing lights and wiring on the south side and upgrade to downtown electrical connections. The lighting on the south side of, by the exit, correct? The south side, that needs an upgrade. There's a lot of lights out. It's actually kind of dangerous because there isn't lighting over there, so it would address that. And also some issues with the downtown electrical system for events and that kind of thing. Sometimes it's hard to find an outlet that works, and it would just probably look at that overall system and see what we need to make it work and make it function so more people can use it. What else do we have that's public? I think, is that it?
Fire station.
Oh, and fire station, yep, to restore the fire station. Fire station definitely needs some improvements, and to the roof, the bell tower, quite a few other things, so that one in there as well, to that historic building.
And you'll see a little bit more detail of each of these projects as you flip further into the presentation. And remember, some of these, as Becca mentioned, some of the drawings and things you see in here, they're purely conceptual. They're not anything that have been decided. So what's in here isn't anything that's been decided. These are just ideas at this point. So,
Is it library? Is it public?
we have 3 there, expand Tioga Performing Arts, expand Coburg Free Library, and expand Tioga County Historical Society Museum, all 3 for not-for-profits for some sort of an improvement or installation of an elevator or greater storage space, safer storage space for historical artifacts with the museum. And so, yeah, those 3 are included in not-for-profit. Also, as a not-for-profit project, the creation of the neighborhood depot or not-for-profit hub and relief center. Village doesn't have a safe relief location to go to in the event of an emergency, so this would serve a dual purpose. So that's been recommended. And then on the private side, talking about installation of Southside drinking water system to facilitate new development. That's over a water tower at the east site that would serve not only the Owego Gardens developments there, but also provide better service for Halsted development and additional future growth on the south side. Create a public well brewery and gateway to North Avenue. Again, that's a private project. That was the Pelicano and Loveless project, a purchase of old Thompsons and rehab to that property. Support and development and expansion of Owego's diverse businesses. There's several projects that were included in that project grouping. Restore 167, 169 Main Street, facade improvements and mixed uses. 167, 169 Main is the Briggs building right at the end of Court Street. They are receiving some New York Main Street, or not New York Main Street, Restore New York funding, but there's a gap in that project of about $123,000, so we included that in here. If we can fill that gap, that project will be completed how we hope. Pull up to that light, you've got a nice building in front of you instead of, what we're faced with at this time. Expansion of applied technology manufacturing, will bring additional jobs into right within the village. Not many villages have manufacturing right within their village, so we're pleased about that project being included. And then the redevelopment of homes on Temple Street to revitalize the key downtown neighborhood that's being led by Tiger Opportunities, and that will have dramatic impact to the Temple Street area as far as either removing or renovating several properties right there in that pretty good block area there. So that's just a very brief rundown. As I said, there's more information enclosed per each project. At this point, we're kind of in a wait and see. We have to wait for the state to come back and let us know, what ultimately will be funded. Out of our office, we tried to make a list of what we think is a high likelihood, moderate likelihood, and low likelihood of being funded, and we had almost all of them under high because we want them all to be funded. So we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens from there, and then once we get the word from the state, we're going to be really, as the meeting suggested, we're going to have quite a lot ahead of us. Team Tioga will be there to help out. We are developing a plan right now, just to try and identify who the partners will be for each project, and what we can anticipate next steps will be. So we'll be putting that together, and we'll bring that and share that with you all as well, so you have a sense for when these projects are approved, what's ahead of us. Questions? And I would just like to say thank you so much to Mayor Brada and Fran for serving, Nadine, serving serving on the local planning committee. It was interesting, wasn't it? And yeah, it was quite an experience, but thank you, everybody. Thank you for your commitment to the program, and we're looking forward to the next step.
All right, thank you. Let's do the Strawberry Festival next.
Yeah. Can I hand these out now?
Yep. Just be careful on my cord here. This will connect it. I still want my strawberry tie. They didn't make it.
I like those shirts.
So she's handing you out some paperwork about all our committee people and the map and the entertainment lineup that we have. And this is for Strawberry Festival, our 39th annual, June 14th and 15th. And we've been doing a lot of planning, and we hope that, what we've been doing is okay. So anyway, our Friday night, which is the start of the festival, we have the 5K run, and that sort of kicks off everything. And then we have merchants and nonprofits pretty much as vendors on the streets, because Friday night we try to highlight the merchants and the downtown. But we have to bring in extra food vendors to feed everybody. And so that gives the merchants a chance to shine. So we start off with the 5K run, and then we have bands at the Barleycorn, on Lake Street, and at Courthouse Square. We've got some name bands that I think people are going to be pretty excited about. And we're going along with the 50th anniversary of Woodstock, so we're bringing in some of that kind of music, of which Wendy has been very influential in obtaining. And then,
I said put it on me early.
yeah, right. Love, love and peace, and then of course, strawberries all evening long, and ending with fireworks, over the grid. So it's usually a beautiful community event. And then Saturday, it starts bright and early. All the vendors come in, line all the streets, and parking's at the fairgrounds and at the Hickories. We bus people in, and it all seems to work very well. We provide for handicap, we provide for everything that we've done for the past 38 years.
And then the parade at 10 o'clock, which lasts usually an hour, but more than an hour, and brings everybody in the community together, and that's really a lot of fun. And then after that, it's just everybody just gets to enjoy the festival. We have bands all over the place. We have roving minstrels, we have puppeteers for the children, we have children's activities, we have dinosaurs, we have this year superheroes. I mean, we've really gone all out to try and really have something really exciting for everybody. And then as the day goes by, you know, hopefully more and more people will arrive. You want to add anything to the thing? And we lined on the map here that where the stages are, where the parking is, what streets are closed and so forth. And we're here to answer questions, you know, if any of you have questions about what it is we're trying to do. And then Officer Winchell is going to talk to you about the traffic pattern for the day, which is very important. And I know some of you are concerned about that. Okay, any questions? You can ask us later, I guess. Do you have anything, Wendy?
No, I'm great.
Donna?
Really? No.
Okay. All right, we'll talk to you after Winchell gets through.
Right, so in talking with Chief Kennedy and the Strawberry Festival Committee, and my past work in Broome County dealing with Speedy Fest and a bunch of other large-scale events, we decided at OPD to work on an incident action plan. This plan is developed in accordance with FEMA guidelines and is a comprehensive plan looking at the basically worst-case scenarios that should ever happen at the Strawberry Festival. There's a written plan that'll be available to all the emergency services, the county, the village, anybody from the village, and it basically, if something starts going awry, there's an index, we go to that plan and we follow the plan. It's prescripted. As part of the plan, we've identified some extra signage to help people move throughout the village, parking problems, traffic control problems, stuff like that. Also talked to, as part of this planning process, I sat down and spent quite a bit of time with the John Hitchings, the Owego Fire Police Captain, and looked at some historical records of Strawberry Fest in the past, trying to develop the comprehensive plan. So I did bring a copy of the draft plan for the board to take a look at, to pass around, but there's a lot of confidential information in there, including cell phone numbers, email addresses, stuff like that. So it's a draft. I'd like to try to keep it confidential. But we do have in here a document that will be able to be passed on from year to year with very minor changes that the plan doesn't really need a lot of changing, and we can roll it out. And now this document is available. And actually, right before the Strawberry Fest, when this is pretty much finalized, I'd actually like to bring it up on the village's website in a confidential area so we can have quick access to it on our cell phones and stuff, and we can talk about that offline. But give this to you, Mayor, take a look at for the board members, and if you guys have any questions about planning that we've done with the Strawberry Fest Committee or traffic or anything, I'd be happy to address those.
I wanted to add one extra thing too. The museum, Tioga County Historical Society, is going to be doing a special exhibit with Strawberry Festival memorabilia. So that's going to be part of it too. So if anybody has anything, let me know. And same, like he said, with the list, with, you know, the list that I passed out with the names and stuff. If you just kind of keep that confidential.
What are you doing with tractor trailers, Chuck?